Good morning. My name is Kathleen Hunter. I go by Kat. This is Draft Policy 2019-1. Myself and Amy Potter are the shepherds on this policy. So the full problem statement's up there. I'm not going to bore you with the entire thing. But in January, there was a face-to-face meeting where the policy experience report was discussed with the members of the advisory council. ARIN staff has observed a pattern where an organization transfers space under 8.2, which is mergers and acquisitions, to a specified recipient and immediately applies for space on the waiting list after that. The activity appears to be speculative in nature and not consistent with sound address management policy. So the policy goals, there's two here. Clarify the waiting period to only prohibit requests for IPv4 allocations under Section 4 of the NRPM, and disallow organizations that have transferred space to other parties within the past 12 months from applying for additional IPv4 space under NRPM Section 4. So this is the current policy as written. Repeated requests in a manner that would circumvent 4.1.6 are not allowed. An organization may only receive one allocation assignment or transfer every 3 months. So in bold is where that's actually going to change. An organization may not apply for IPv4 address resources under this section if they have received an allocation, assignment, or transfer of IPv4 resources less than 3 months prior, or the organization has transferred space to another party under Section 8 less than 12 months prior. So if you've transferred space out, you have to wait 12 months. PPML reception has been generally positive. So most of the discussion was to keep the two topics, the two goals together. This should curb bad practice, and anything that clarifies Section 4 is welcome. So some discussion points. These policy goals are severable if the community prefers to address them independently. There are a lot of other discussions that are ongoing about future policy changes for the wait list. Do you believe this policy is worth pursuing as a potential stopgap for bad behavior, knowing that larger policy discussions are going on? Something I didn't list on here, but was brought up a couple of times in the last day or so. Is 12 months enough time? Would you rather see that number go to 24 months? Is it too long, too short? And that's it. Yep. There you go.
All right. Oh, you keep that. The microphones are open. This is a draft policy, so we're looking either for feedback on your support or not for the policy statement or the problem statement. So please approach a microphone, and rear microphone, please.
Kevin Bloomberg, The Wire. I support the policy. In regards to the 12 months, I believe if a staff member or somebody from the APNIC region could comment, I believe that their latest policy had a 5-year restriction, and if somebody wants to just clarify that. I think that that's probably too long because this is dealing with a number of things, but I don't know if 12 months, I don't believe 12 months really curbs anything. What we've seen with other things is people are willing to wait. So I would probably look and be very, I would personally be okay with 36 months and looking at something like that. You could obviously poll the list and people, but I don't think 12 months is enough time. The rest of it, absolutely, this is a good cleanup. Thank you.
Thank you. Others that wish to speak in favor or against the concept, the policy, suggestions, questions? Rear microphone.
Sorry. Tony Smith from APNIC, just to clarify the comment. Prop 116 passed in our region, I believe it was 2017. It was related to our final /8. The policy proposal initially asked for all transfers from the last /8 block to be banned. That then changed to 2-year period, and then in the final consensus call, it changed to 5 years, and that's what passed as policy. So that's for our final /8 block.
Thank you for the clarification. Rear microphone.
Chris Woodfield, Salesforce ARIN-2019-1. I initially submitted this proposal. Obviously supported it as written.
You never know with this crowd, so it's good to clarify.
Yeah, yes. But I am also perfectly happy with longer time periods that have been proposed. 12 months was initial stab. Seems like the community is coalescing on something longer than that, and I'm perfectly okay with that.
Okay. Thank you. Other comments? So, for those that are new, at the end of this week, the esteemed AC locks themselves in a room and tries to take all this input and try to decide what to do with this policy. And the input they get right here is very important to that. So it's great if you can come up and speak in a mic. We will be closing the microphones though soon if nobody comes. So please approach a microphone quickly. I see a remote participant a little back and forth. Do you want? I think he's still getting the thing, so why don't you go ahead, sir?
Michael Castoval Noraulo. I'm supportive of this because an organization that requests an IP block and then transfers it out immediately is either gaming the system or basically shot themselves in the foot by, they didn't need the block in the first place. So I'm looking at this as a way to drastically reduce abuse of Section 4 and requesting IP blocks. I actually feel like 12 months is too short. And I would be much happier with a longer period with an exemption that if the party that received the block can document why circumstances changed, they can then have that waived on a case-by-case basis. But I feel like a strong line against gaming and hoarding blocks is very much the way to go, given IPv4 exhaustion.
Thank you for that. I again urge you to approach. We'll be closing the microphones after the remote participation if we don't see someone moving to a mic. Sir.
I'm proxying multiple remote participants and also have my own 2 cents.
In the order you choose, sir.
Okay. Jason Schiller, Google, ASOAC. I support the proposal with a restriction of 12, 36, or even 60 months, but it should not apply to M&A activity.
Okay.
Next, Andrew Gallo, GW. I would suggest a longer time, 36, 48, 60 months. Brian Jones, Virginia Tech. I support draft policy 2019-1. I would also support if the waiting period were extended to 24 months or longer. I like the idea of addressing both issues for requests and transfers in the same section.
All right. Thank you very much. And you had your own? That you want
My comment was longer, please.
Longer. So lots of feedback on the length for sure. So that's great to have. Sir, front microphone.
Rudy Daniel, ARIN fellow. Yeah, I'm in support of the policy. I'm also in support of the longer time period, certainly more than 12 months, but I think there should be some safeguard built into that because supposing the conditions change, if there was a 36-month period and the conditions change within that period, then there should be some let-out clause.
Okay, thank you. So we'll keep the microphones open because the flow is going, and that's fine. We have the time. We're not trying to cut it short. We just don't want to sit with too much dead air. Rear microphone.
Chris Bluefield again, Salesforce ARIN-2019-1. I just wanted to address the last comment that there is current language in that section that I'll read it out loud. Actually, it's on slide 4, I believe, if you want to go back to that. Yes, the final sentence there that starts with ARIN at its sole discretion. That is that let-out clause that you're referring to, I believe.
Yeah. Okay. I've had lots of discussion on the time and the consultant. Any other feedback? I see another comment coming in.
Michael Castoval Noraulo. Just bringing up on the policy of R1 at its discretion, that may be a little bit too vague. It may be better to have a strong set of guidelines that go into what a waiver involves, so the process is consistent, just based off my experiences on how various waivers have worked in ICANN in the past.
All right. Thank you for the input. Again, I'm going to now close the microphones after this comment, so please come to the microphone if you'd like to make a comment or start typing. Rear microphone.
Kevin Bloomberg, The Wire. The last part related to the waiver, I would like to ask the staff in front, would an M&A be considered a change in circumstances that would allow for it? Because that sort of addresses Jason's concern from earlier. And I don't have a problem with the ambiguity there, because I think the reason for that ambiguity is to prevent gaming that we've seen in other ways. So while I would love, I know that having specificity is wonderful, I believe that sole discretion was put there because if you start documenting it all, it's just an abuse vector. So I guess to my first question, which is the most important, would an M&A be considered a change in circumstances that would then be used?
We evaluate M&A on a case-by-case basis. It's not the M&A. The M&A itself, you take two entities that are operating with address space and functions, and you combine them, and the functions remain, and the address space remains, then the combination doesn't create in and of itself any change in overall circumstances, okay? So an M&A would not necessarily trigger. You have an M&A where you're divesting units and businesses are going there and addresses are going here. Yes, you may have a circumstance that on a case-by-case basis we need to accommodate. Depends on the particular of the M&A.
Thank you.
Microphones are now closed. Can you flush our queue out, please?
I realized when I made my personal comment, I did not drop affiliation, so Joe Provo, Google, ARIN-AC.
My bad, actually.
And support in spirit and longer please, but we got to do something, so yay. Remote participation. Jason Schiller, Google, ASOAC. An address holder that finds they are holding unneeded IP space could always return it to ARIN or another RAR or IANA as applicable with no penalty, right?
Okay. One more?
Nope, that's it.
Thank you. All right, that closes the discussion. Thank you very much. Kat, as this is your first presentation as a member, you win these lovely glasses. If you need them, yes. Thank you very much for this. Give a hand for the presentation.